Hey everybody, welcome to Electric Head TV. This is Mike, and in this episode, we're going to discuss and rank the albums of one of my personal favorite bands, the Black Dahlia Murder. Stick around. Yeah, so like I said at the top of the episode, in this show, we're going to discuss and rank the albums for the Black Dahlia Murder. This is a band that was formed in the early 2000s, and they're out of Detroit, Michigan, USA. There's been two members, Trevor and Brian, singer and guitar player, respectively, that have been in the band pretty much so since the inception, and are pretty much so the heart and backbone to the Black Dahlia Murder. That's not to belittle any contribution made along the way from any of the various members throughout time. But anyway, I don't want to give out too much information and go through it. I'll try to put the listing of who was in the band at the particular time of the album with the album year and release date. Well, the album release year anyway, on screen as I go through these. And because other than that, I mean, there's plenty of documentaries and stuff online that you can find that'll give you all the information on the guys that you could ever need. Anyway, these are all just my opinions and thoughts. You can go ahead and feel free to comment and let me know what you think in the comments below. But let's get into it. Number 9, Verminus. This is come out in 2020. The guys are on record, Trevor mostly saying that this is a band trying to incorporate new sounds, new styles into their music. So it's kind of, in my mind, treated as an album or a band trying to find a sound again. So it feels like a Black Dahlia Murder album, but just doesn't meet the snuff. Like I said, they're trying to find themselves in it. Some of the songs on it that I enjoyed were Godlessly and How Very Dead. They seemed the most Black Dahlia-like, yet still kind of pushing that let's try something a little different envelope. But just for me, overall, not their greatest outing. All right, number 8 is 2005's Miasma. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I don't think it really matters. If you have an opinion, feel free to let me know. Whatever. Again, this kind of has the same problem as the last album, Verminus, in that it's a band trying to find its sound. There are a lot of good songs on there. A lot of classics kind of come from that. But you can tell it's a stepping stone into what they end up sounding like very shortly. Some of the songs I enjoy off this album are Flies and Miscarriage. They seem to have the closest resemblance to what is the main Black Dahlia sound. So, on to number 7. Number 7 is their first album from 2003 called Unhollowed. Again, these lower ones all are the same thing, just bands trying to find their sound. That's to say that they have classics on there, but you can tell that they're not quite fully to where they become. Some of the ones I like on this one are Blackest Incarnation and Thy Horror Cosmic. Again, these seem more in the Black Dahlia vein, more so even than the ones that were on the Miasma album that I had mentioned. These definitely feel to me more, like I said, that finalized sound that they had come to. And are pretty damn good songs. This whole list is going to be a matter of slight variations, especially when it gets into the higher numbers. And it's really going to come down to which ones that I kind of just can put on and not skip, not feel like I want to skip. And I mean, even down to, it comes to the point where if I'm even interrupted while listening to the album, I get pretty pissed off. Anywho, so let's get on to number 6. Now, this is 2009's The Fluorite. They had definitely come into their sound by this point. I don't know if it was unease in the band at the time that put it lower down than the one before it, than Nocturnal, but it just doesn't hit as hard as the ones before it. It's definitely got some good ones on it, though, for sure. The opening track, Black Valor, is a very good song. And, what was it? Oh, yeah, Eyes of a Thousand. Eyes of a Thousand is another good one. Like I said, these are tracks that kind of have that sound. And I don't know, don't feel either rushed or like I said, it's hard to say. Something was going on in the band at the time, I believe, and the album definitely showed it. So that brings us to number 5, and that is 2015's Abysmal. I think this album was critically panned, and I think even members of the band say that it's not their favorite album, if I'm not mistaken. But for me, it was one of the albums that kind of got me into the band. I had first heard them when I think Miasma, I keep saying that, had come out. But for whatever reason, I just couldn't get into them as much. But then it was after this album came out that I heard them, and it was the opening song, Receipt, that got me really into them. That vampire slaying death metal sound that they're known for was in its height on that one, and plus it had what was it, Vlad, Son of the Dragon, or something like that on there. That's a good song. So yeah, for me, Abysmal is one of those albums that really made me get into them and look into the back catalog, and I'm glad for that one. So Abysmal, number 5. That brings us to number 4. This is their third album, 2007's Nocturnal. This is the first album that really concreted the sound, if you ask me, of the band and the direction that they were going in. The self-described Castlevania death metal. Goodness. Yeah, so some of the songs on this album that are, if you ask me, quintessential Black Dahlia Murder would be Death Mask Divine, for sure. I think that's probably even one of their most critically acclaimed songs. And then I also liked Virally Yours on that album. That's when they really developed that sound, and then there was that era of just banger after banger after banger for the band. And this is the first one, like I said, to really concrete that sound. Yeah, so that brings us to number 3 on the list, and that is 2017's Nightbringers. Again, another vampire slaying classic. This is the first one to have Brandon Ellis. He's been on the last 2. The guy, to me, is a virtuoso on guitar. Not to say anybody else that's been in the band before, it hasn't been, but I mean, young kid, and he could play classical riffs. I mean, classical music riffs like nobody's business. Check him out on YouTube. Awesome. Yeah, so some of the good songs on this one were As Good as Dead and Of God and Serpent and Spectre and Snake, I think is what it's called. Those are some really good ones. I mean, there's a lot of good ones on that one. Definitely recommend checking that out. But again, we're getting in the top 3, so like any of these are must listen tos for sure. All right, number 2 on the list is 2013's Everblack. I mean, first of all, probably one of my favorite songs by the band is Raped in Hatred by Vines of Thorns, an Evil Dead reference. Awesome song. Awesome song. Probably an awesome album all the way around. I mean, again, we're getting to the point where we're splitting hairs, but very brutal, very dark album. Again, this is part of that era where they're like on the top of their game, so everything is firing on all cylinders for sure. Another good one on that album is the I think it's the finale song, Map of Scars. Really good song. Again, another one of those blistering fast ones. It's I don't know. I mean, this is probably when they're the closest they've been that's in that verge of death metal and black metal when it comes to Black Dahlia Murder. So, I mean, that leaves only one album to be my all-time personal favorite Black Dahlia Murder album, and that is Ritual. This is one I can put on, and if I'm interrupted, I get mad. It's it's a good album all the way through. It's got a good flow. All the other albums are pretty much so ones like that too. But sometimes you kind of reach these moments where it's like, well, I would have maybe put that song here or there, and that's just somebody who plays music and goes, oh, how would I have done it? But no, Ritual is one that from beginning to end has it all. Starts off with a little orchestral piece, and then it just goes, man. So yeah, some of the best songs that they have are on this album. Blood in the Ink, On Stirring Seas of Salted Blood, Carbonized and Cruciform. This is the one that has Den of the Pickers too, I think. Just good album all the way through. This is, to me, when the band was at their highest. I don't think they've necessarily peaked all the way around, but for what they have, this is the highest of quality. And this is a band, thankfully, I finally got to see. A little story about that. Before the Coof and all that crap came around, I had tickets to go see him probably about 6 months before. And something happened. I think I ended up getting sick and couldn't go, and the ticket got wasted. So they were coming back right again. And I think it was going to be in April 2020. And got my ticket for it, and then boom, canceled because of COVID. Like, crap. And then as soon as they opened up with the Up From the Sewers tour, I got my ticket and just crossed my fingers some other crap wasn't going to go down or anything like that, and finally got to see him. So I saw him at the Baltimore Soundstage. They were with Undeath, Rivers of Nile, and Carnifex. Yeah. It's a pretty good show, man. Pretty good show. I had a good time. Definitely a band I would recommend to anybody. If you get a chance, check them out. If you like them, let me know. If you don't like them, let me know too. Let's talk about them in the comments down below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit me up on electricheadrecords.com. You can get yourself record, CD, MP3, video games, all kinds of crap. It'll help me. It'll help you. Awesome. Tax-free too. Follow us on Instagram at MikeT_EHR. And until the next one, stay safe.